Welcome to another episode of Muay Thai Save Me, guys. My name is Kru Neil, and if it's first time tuning into this episode or this show, guys, I bring on special guests, and guys, I have a special guest for you guys today. I bring on guests to share their story of how Muay Thai has changed and impacted their life in an amazing way. But I have beside me none other than Kru Walter from Sityodtong, Los Angeles. Fun fact, he's known me since I was a little kid. I remember seeing him fight, and I'm really excited. Kru Walter, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm really excited to just kind of hear your story, because as long as I've known you, I don't know how you got into Muay Thai. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
All right. Hey, thank you for asking me to do this, Neil. I really appreciate it, and always want to carry the message, man.
I love it. Definitely.
And inspire other people. Mm-hmm. I like the title of the show, Muay Thai Saved My Life, because it definitely applies to me. I was going down a pretty seriously dark road for a while in my life, and it...
What age group was that? Like, what age were you when all this stuff was kind of going down? Or when did it start, and then when did Muay Thai start coming in?
I probably started early, and it just spiraled out of control as we went. But I needed something that I could take serious. I mean, if someone tells you, "Hey, don't do that," when you're a kid, don't put your hand on the hot stove. You're like, well, why not? I'll try it. And you do it and you get burned. Yeah. I'm like one of those kids too. And if you tell me I can't do something, I'm definitely going to try and do it. So that's just human nature sometimes. So, I mean, the Thai boxing, you can't sugarcoat it. It's dangerous, right? I mean, you could get hurt fighting pretty badly. In the old days, they had some fatalities in Thailand too. Especially when they didn't have the weight classes lined up and the old school stuff, especially the Muay Bolan and stuff like that. But no rounds, no gloves, the katsu, the ropes on the hands. But I needed something I could take serious. If I wasn't training, or I was getting into some late night activities that were a little bit detracting from my athleticism and discipline, you pay for it, right? You pay for it maybe with broken ribs, stitches, or whatever. You get beat up. It's not fun. So that caused me to take things a lot more seriously and live a cleaner life. I mean, Muay Thai allows us to live a cleaner life, and especially in Thailand too. The kids coming up from Isan and places like that, dirt poor, and they are able to feed and provide for their families now. And it's a major thing. I know it's different in America. We work jobs, and then we do this more as a hobby type of framework. Even when we're turning pro, we're not necessarily making that much money, unfortunately. It's getting better, but
Well, Kru Walter, take me back to that day, right? You're spiraling, and you're like, man, I need something to take serious. How did you come about Muay Thai? Like how did you discover it, and what intrigued you with Muay Thai? Why Muay Thai? You could have done boxing, you could have done another martial art, but you chose Muay Thai. How did you discover that?
Well, I did do some boxing. My dad was a boxer. He was a club fighter. Never really nothing major. But I remember him old school. Him and my Uncle John were club fighters back in the day, and I'm from Indiana originally, near Gary, and they sparred with Tony Zale and those middleweights in the 50s. This was, and my dad had some gloves, and I was like, I want to learn to box. Teach me to box. His idea to teach me to box was putting on the gloves, and he busted me up. So at that point, I'm like, I want to learn martial arts, man. This is too much. And at that time too, I mean, I'm pretty old now, so Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon. Saw that, and that, like a lot of martial artists, I mean, not only my age, but I think throughout history, were really influenced by Bruce Lee. And then when I moved to California, I ended up training with Rich Bustillo. Sifu Richard Bustillo was a student of Bruce Lee's in Chinatown in the 60s.
Wow.
And Dan Inosanto was there too at the time. And these guys were awesome. And they were the ones that exposed me to Muay Thai.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember my cousin Jack talking about it too. He was a Vietnam veteran. Wow. And I was doing some karate back in Indiana. And he was like, forget that stuff, man. I saw some Muay Thai when I was in Thailand, and I got to move around with a couple of Thai fighters, and that's what if you want to take something that's going to be useful, you need to learn that. And
so let's touch into that, right? So you're in Thailand, and I love the story. Like, would you mind sharing that with everyone? Like, it was 1991,
yes,
right? And you're in Thailand, and you go to the famous Sityodtong camp.
Well, interesting story how I got set up for that trip. It was my first Muay Thai coach. So I'm training in JKD. They exposed me to Muay Thai.
Okay.
And Richard Bustillo had a friend, his picture's on the wall right over there, Nanfa Siharadetcho.
Oh,
he was my first Muay Thai coach. Raj Damdurn Stadium champ too.
Wow.
And he lived in Torrance. I was living in the South Bay at the time.
Wow.
And Rich was... And I still respect JKD and the whole lineage, the Bruce Lee concepts. And Rich was like, I really can't take you deeper down the path of Thai boxing. I want to introduce you to somebody. And he had a Nanfa come by.
Wow.
His nickname was Lot. They called him Lot. And I'll never forget it. I pulled up. I had a Harley back then. I rode up to the gym. I pulled up to the gym. I get off my bike and I hear this boom, boom. Sounds like a 12 gauge.
Wow.
Bam! I go in the gym and there's Nanfa in there and he's kicking that 300-pound Bruce Lee heavy bag.
Wow.
Which is like a relic.
Yeah.
And scared me, man. I was like, wow, I've never seen this much power. Little dude, too.
Yeah.
And so then we all met him. Super nice dude. Real, you know how the Thais are. They're real laid back. Yeah. Till you get in the ring with them.
That's right.
And then you're dead meat. But anyway, so I meet Nanfa, and there was about maybe a half dozen of us there, and we all sparred with him.
Okay.
He just clowned us.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, I think he grabbed my teeth, threw me out of the ring, next, not hurt us, but it was just like, it was a joke to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, at that point, I got to learn this.
Okay.
And that was what did it.
Okay.
And then, so I trained with him a couple years, maybe about 2 years. I started fighting amateur fights. And I think Kru Kim and Yuki Horiyuchi were promoters.
Yes.
I started fighting. And Nanfa passed away.
Oh, wow.
He died. He had something wrong with his heart. You'd never know it because he was always in great shape. And he wasn't a big drinker or smoker or anything, too. That's the thing I advocate today, too. I always stay in shape. I mean, I'm 60 now, so...
You look amazing,
you gotta stay sharp, know? And these days, you never know when you'll have to use it on the street.
Absolutely.
Muay Thai is practical.
Yes.
I've had people tell me, well, it's a sport. It's sport fighting. Have you ever sparred with a Muay Thai fighter? I was like, these guys are used to getting hit.
Yeah.
It's a major advantage.
Yes.
I mean, and their training it's borderline insanity.
Yeah.
So they're prepped pretty well for whatever comes at them. But anyway, so Nanfa passes away. They have a big ceremony at the Thai temple up in North Hollywood. I go up there and all his friends, his best friend, Super Chai, who I still talk to, they had all his gear in a bag and they gave it to me. They're like, Walter, he really wanted you to take this somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Wrote me a letter to get in the Sityodtong camp.
Wow.
They're like, you gotta go train with Kru Walter. he's the best with the foreigners, and he's JD, good heart.
Yeah.
And he was,
And that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is back then in that time frame, Thailand was not very welcoming. We were just talking about that earlier, right? How they weren't welcoming to foreign fighters.
No.
They were like, we're not teaching the art to you guys. This is our art. And you had to kind of learn on your own. Learn by watching, get beat up. Some gyms would just turn you away. They wouldn't even give you any time of day. But you got that handwritten letter, and so that got you in.
And the Buddhist offerings to give to them, and like the correct way. I had a Thai girlfriend at the time, and her mom drove me down there, and Kru Walter, she was a Thai singer. He took a liking to her. I don't know, but
Thai people and singing,
it
goes hand in
like
hand.
the entertainment, But anyway, like Kru Rex was too. And I'm a guitar player too, so I can relate to that also. But so I went down there and I asked her, "Can you tell Kru Walter to give me a good pad holder and trainer and have some of the guys there?" I mean, you're talking about a camp with Samat Piaklu, Nun Pichit, Gong Tolani, Yadi Cha, all these at that time, this was, 91 was the golden age.
That's right.
So, I mean, it was just like a slaughterhouse of fighters, man. Lumpini Stadium was just like, it was crazy. Man. Yeah, I think it has to do with the economy too. At that time, Thailand was a lot more poor. So they fought for survival, food, and now it's still great. It's still great. I just got back from Thailand. I went to one championship. I love Famous Sityodtong. It's my good friend, and it's going well, But it's definitely different. So I go there and I asked her to tell Kru Walter to. Give me a good trainer and have some of the Thais. And I didn't speak Thai back then or nothing, but he hooked me up.
Wow.
Yeah, and he remembered me too. And every year I came back and, I started fighting, and worked my way up. I started out at the little bar fights and stuff like that. Then went to small stadiums. I never fought in any of the big stadiums or anything, but I did some small shows and learned a lot.
Wow. And then, so you're in it now. What made you, Kru Walter, want to come back and open up your own gym? Like what sparked that? And then I love that how you took the lineage of Sityodtong and you're like, I wanna keep, keep the legacy alive, right? Do it in America. What sparked that, Kru Walter?
That's a good question, Neil. In fact, there's a nice little story behind it too. Ooh. So I'm fighting, there's the poster right there. Pattaya Stadium, I'm co-main event, I'm fighting Photong Saw Priyapan. He's a pretty known local fighter around Chonburi.
Okay.
And the dude thought he was gonna just wipe the floor with me, because I'm a Phalong, right?
Yeah. And it's 91, right?
Oh no, this was later. This was 2000, I think, 2000 something, early 2000s when I'd already been coming for him. Yeah, so right before Kru Walter won the lottery. Actually, when I opened Sityodtong that year too.
Wow.
But anyway, because it happened after I did that fight was when they had me do it. So. I'm in the ring. I'm going to fight this dude, and it's going to be a pretty big show. I'm feeling good, and I hear him say, by then my Thai got quite a bit better. I hear him say, "Phulang Ginbo." This is going to be easy, eat the pig like a piece of cake.
Yeah.
It's nothing. And I heard that, and I kind of got a little pissed, And I was training a lot of boxing then too, and I remember, and at that time really, they weren't as stringent on the commissioner type of regulations and rules like with a mouthpiece or things like that, or you dump all the water you want in the corner, and it's Thailand.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go out to, we're gonna start the fight. We both do Y crews and everything, which I love. Y crew is like a big, love it. Teach a couple of them. Do the original camp Y crew too.
Yeah.
Kru Walter showed me the original ceremony. It's called Chanchu Uon with the elephant trunk.
Wow.
So anyway, did the Y crew and everything. We go to fight, and then I look over at him, and before we start, he spits out his mouthpiece.
Wow.
So I'm like, and at that time they didn't really trip out if you wore one or not.
Yeah.
And some of the Thais didn't even punch much, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of kicking, elbows and knees, especially a lot of clinching in round 4 and 5. So as soon as he spit out the mouthpiece, I thought, I'm gonna lay your ass out. And I did. I ended up clipping him on the chin.
Oy.
And he went down, and at first I was like, yes, all like celebratory and, feeling happy and everything. And then I went over and I looked by him, paid respects. I mean, we're athletes, we're sportsmen. It's not a street fight. And I looked over at him on the ground, and his eyes are wide open, and he's like a dead corpse.
Oh no!
I never saw anything like that. I never knocked anybody out like that in street fights or in the ring, and it shook me a little bit.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa! And then everything got quiet. They're like, well, what do we do? Because in Thailand, they did, especially then, they haul you out on a stretcher
real quick.
That's it.
Next fight in.
Right.
Next fight in.
And then they have infirmaries in the stadiums where they're stitching guys up in between fights because everybody gets cut with elbows.
Yeah.
So it got quiet. It was a little scary. And then he finally woke up.
Oh wow!
And we were okay. And after the fight, we were friends and everything too. It was a great experience. Though he gave me his shorts. They're on the wall now.
I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scalp in the from the warrior symbol. Symbolizes it too, and it was a great scene. Samat Piakalun was there, and he became a good friend of mine. His older brother was my pad holder and trainer in Thailand. Wow. Stayed at my house too. Lived with me in Pasadena for a year. Gong Tolani did. Wow. 5-time Lumpini Stadium champion in 5 different weight classes. Wow. And have him just living at your house.
Yeah, that's so cool. It was so cool.
It was cool.
So that was the fight that sparked your teaching?
So, yeah. After that fight, I go back to the camp the next day, and they're having a powwow. Kru Walter, Gong Tolani, Kru Toy, all the head guys. They're having a little powwow, and they call me over. Kru Walter tells me, Walter, we heard you and your wife are going to open a new gym in L.A. It's going to be the Sityodtong. You understand, boy, right? Khao Chai Mai?
Wow.
Khao Chai Kap?
Wow.
So he was like, there wasn't any contracts or franchises or any of this type of, Crunch Fitness or
but I love the fact that
gangster.
Right, the fact that you guys built that relationship together, and then he was like, "This is the guy that I want to pass the name Sityodtong to Los Angeles."
Chai.
I that's so cool. That's such a cool story.
And same thing with my partner in Boston too, Mark Del Grotti. It's the same thing too. Falang speaks Thai, fought stadiums. And had some experience carrying the right message, and that's how they did him too.
I love that. That's so cool, Kru Walter. And you said you're 60. When did you start learning Muay Thai? Do you remember what age you were?
Well, there wasn't any Muay Thai in Indiana, and I had a hard time. Even when I first started in the 80s with the JKD, there wasn't much, I think And I was living in the South Bay, and I'm driving to North Hollywood.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
But when I could, I would train with Nanfa in his backyard.
Okay.
And that was about it. And then when he died, I basically sold my stuff and went to Thailand.
Wow.
So,
wow.
you know, on a mission, right?
Yeah.
On a mission. And these days, you know, I branched out. I mean, Muay Thai is, like we talked about a little bit before, is great because you're going to get in awesome shape doing it. And you're going to learn how to use your natural weapons and defend against them too.
Yes.
I know a lot of fights go to the ground, and that's true, and you have to be able to defend against it and deal with it, but they all start standing up.
That's right.
You know, so I train a lot of law enforcement guys now too, and I tell them, hey, get used to dealing with, you know, defending punches, right? How to cover, how to evade, you know, and how to counter, because it's going to be thrown at you. You know, we can't rely on, you know, taking it to the ground. You might not want to be on the ground.
Right. And the way I look at it too is most street fights happen on concrete. You don't want to get tackled to the ground. And that's the thing too. I was having a talk with one of my students that people forget MMA happens on an actual built cage, right? The canvas is a certain way. It's a certain material so it doesn't cut up your feet. But in a street fight, you're wearing tennis shoes. You might be wearing boots, you know, and you trying to do a wrestling takedown, you might scratch up your knees. You know what I mean? You slam someone, you don't do it right, you can also get hurt.
True.
So it's, I see more street fights definitely standing up first, swinging, and if they kind of get, you know,
Then
really
they'll
close, then all of a sudden it might fall to the ground.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
here's the advantage to Thai boxing, though, Neil. You know this as well as I do. Our standing grappling is paramount. It's a very important range, the plum.
Yes.
I mean, we're working on it every day. And the standing grappling, that's why I think that Muay Thai has been integrated so well into MMA is because they're not afraid to lock up.
That's right. That's right. What I remember, my first trip to Thailand, it was 2004, and I remember one of the trainers, I loved his description. He was like, you know, any martial art can punch and kick, but what separates Muay Thai is the knees and the elbows and the clinch. And I was like, ooh, I love that. I love it. And that always stuck with me, and that's kind of what I relay the message to students that I'm teaching as well.
I mean, the cuts are almost all from the elbows. So you've got the two elements right there for devastation.
Yes.
You know, and it's like peace through superior firepower. You know, it's like having a firearm. You know, they say.
And speaking of firearms, so Kru Walter, for people that maybe don't know you, so not only do you do Muay Thai, but you also are a competitive shooter, right? You do jiu-jitsu, you mentioned earlier. You train canines. How did that come? How did you go? Because I know you said self-defense, right? Learning how to defend yourself, very important. You never know. How did you get into competitive shooting?
The competitive shooting, well, I'm a gun guy. I mean, I'm a farm boy from Indiana, been shooting guns all my life. My dad was a career military guy, and it was just a natural progression. I mean, it's all martial arts. Getting older too, I think that's one of the reasons I evolved into guns and dogs.
Okay.
But I had a student that was a master level 3 gunner. He's I think a criminology professor too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, great guy, and he helped me out a lot. Invited me to go to a shooting match at Prado Running Gun, Chino Hills, really nice Olympic shooting park. They had the Olympics there too. And invited me to a shooting match. I had a pistol. I think I had a Glock 19 or something like that. Holster, mag pouches, bring 250, 300 rounds, and ear pro and eye protection and all that, and let's rock and roll. I'm like, I'm in.
Okay.
So I go there and I'm thinking, yeah, I know how to shoot pretty good. I'm gonna go kick ass.
Yeah.
These guys, I'm way over my head.
Oh,
These
wow.
guys are like, you know, grandmaster level shooters.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
You know, master level, you know, yeah, really good. Wow. It's funny because recently I just made master myself in USPSA in pistol caliber carbine, but my first shooting match was it was a humbling experience, and I was hooked immediately.
Okay.
You know, it was like when you first start Muay Thai and somebody kicks you in the leg and, you know, or clinches with you and just ragdolls you, tosses you, you're like, if you have any brains, you're going to be like, I got to learn this stuff.
That's right.
You know, it's like Bruce Lee said, empty your cup, absorb what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is uniquely your own. I love that stuff. So, anyway, I go to this match and, you know, I really, it's expensive. Shooting sports is not cheap. That's why we all have sponsors too, competitive shooters. So I was like, man, sign me up for this. I was hooked immediately. Yeah. I'll get the money somehow.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I love it. And then, so tell me, I only know, but like, tell me the team, your shooting team.
Yeah.
You mentioned John Wick, the movie.
Yeah. I love the John Wick movies, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So, and the captain of the guys I shoot with, I was lucky enough to get on Terran Tactical.
Wow.
And Terran Butler, he's a grandmaster. Dude's a legend. He used to, I used to train him in Muay Thai. My old student introduced me to him.
Wow.
We hit it off right away, and he trains a lot of actors and Keanu Reeves and you know, a whole bunch of them. And I met Ryan Guzman over there and his wife Christiani. She was the Pink Power Ranger, and I mean, you just name it. Stacy Dash and Clueless and all, a bunch of different people. Really awesome. And
that is cool.
I started shooting with these guys. Next thing you know, Terran was like, "Hey, Walter, you're pretty decent. I'm gonna put you on, make you a jersey. You're gonna have a team jersey. Give me your logo for your kickboxing gym, and we'll put it on the front." So it has the Sityodtong logo in Thai.
That's
on
so
the
cool.
Jersey. Yeah,
that's so cool.
And that's been the latest thing.
Okay.
And that, of course, there's the dog training too, and the same thing went with that. The first time I ever put on a sleeve and took a bite from a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois, I was hooked on that too.
Wow.
Just did a canine competition today.
Okay.
I'm in the Southwest Regionals right now.
Wow.
That's 3 days. I got to go tomorrow for the tracking, the set work.
And what takes place in these like tournaments that you're going to?
The dog tournaments, they have 3 phases. It's almost like a triathlon where they will do obedience work with the dog. It's all off leash. They have to ignore the gunfire. They go by a guy shooting a blank gun. They do retrieves of wooden dumbbells. They retrieve over a 1 meter hurdle. They climb a 10-foot wall and retrieve wooden dumbbells. Then they do protection work, which is a guy in, it's almost like a teepee, and they search 6 blinds to look for the bad guy. And then when they find him, they do what's called a hold and bark. It's a very involved sport. I mean, it might take me some time to explain all the idiosyncrasies of it, but
that's like the gist of it
and then there's also the scent work, the tracking. So the Europeans were smart. The Germans were smart when they put all this together. It was like almost like these dogs are almost like Navy SEALs. I mean, so they have to have the intelligence and the athleticism to do all this stuff. So between Muay Thai, the dog training, and the competitive shooting, that's kind of like been my existence for the last 10 years probably. But I'm on a mission to, like we mentioned before, to keep the Sityodtong lineage going. I have a surprise announcement now too. We are going to be having an affiliate school in Ventura County starting soon in Camarillo, and promoting a show coming up next weekend, actually, the Battle of LA. You can see it right here. Second show I've done as a promoter. So I'm looking forward to doing another one of those.
I love that. Kru Walter, where can they find information? People that might be listening to the audio version of this podcast, where can they go to find out ticket information about this show to come support?
On the show, Warrior Pride Productions.
Warrior Pride Productions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, promotions.
Warrior Pride Promotions.
I should know what I'm talking about a little better. I just make champions,
Okay.
But yeah, the Warrior Pride Promotions.
Okay. And it's full Muay Thai rules?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
it's
then,
all amateur right now, but I have so many friends and around the world, especially in Thailand, that want to fight on my shows. I'm like, I'm not pro yet.
Yeah. So it's Saturday, February 10th.
Yes.
So this month, guys, literally a week away.
Yes.
A week
next
away.
Weekend.
So this is great. It's going to be taking
It's at a big
place.
movie set.
Yes, CSI Studios in Los Angeles, guys. So please remember Warrior Pride Promotions. Check it out. Get your ticket. I'll be there to support as well. And Kru Walter, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This was so cool, and I loved hearing the story. Like, so awesome. I really mean that.
Cool. I hope the listeners enjoy it.
I hope so too. Kru Walter, before we sign off, do you have any advice for anyone that might be, spiraling down a bad hole? What could you share your advice, your wisdom to these people that could help maybe ignite a fire inside of them where they can make change? What could you share with someone?
I was just, funny you mentioned that, Neil, because I was just talking about this just before you got here.
Oh, wow.
And I've been really into the mental game for the last couple of years especially. Because, how it is when you're fighting too.
Yes.
How much of it you think is mental?
All of it.
A great portion.
Yeah.
But what do we do to strengthen the mental game?
That's right.
And we might have a lot of coaches use negative reinforcement a lot of times. You hear about, oh, you look shitty, you look weak or whatever, or man, you're not, but not much. I'm not saying you have to patronize them, but it should balance out a little bit more. I found that, I'll need to tell guys, hey, you know what? That's good. You keep doing that, you'll be a world champion. And you can see it build them. And people need to be built.
Absolutely.
They don't need to be broken down.
Absolutely.
I think you need to stay away from substance abuse because, first of all, the stuff is cut with things now. I've known personally 2 people that died of fentanyl, OD.
Wow.
Yeah. And they thought they were just doing their, usual drug of choice, whatever it was,
Yeah.
And, a lot of things are cut with that. It's real dangerous. Another thing I think is really important is acceptance. Because if you're an undefeated fighter, things are not going to go your way all the time.
Absolutely.
But how do you accept it when things don't?
Yeah.
I just had something happen today when I was at this canine trial, and my dog, he went around a jump, and he didn't go over the wall we were talking about. And he's a young dog. I've been in Thailand for the last month too, so I haven't had. It's my fault. I didn't have enough time to train with him, but I have to accept that.
Yeah.
So you can go down the road of negativity, or you can use this to make your adjustments and to fuel the positive things in life to come out ahead and learn from it and become better.
I love it.
And that's so important. I think another thing too is you gotta have mentors.
Yeah.
Right? My mentors have changed so much. Kru Walter is a huge mentor of mine. But so is a lot of these guys that are on the walls in this room. But I can remember when I was running and gunning and was a little more of a knucklehead, my mentors were guys that used methods of violence to get respect. But respect is earned. It's not something that you have coming. Right? And a lot of people, how many people are in prison for, because they got disrespected?
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
you know, and I think that, I mean, that's the main thing, to have good mentors, you know, to have mentors that are doing the right thing. And it's pretty simple, really, but it's just not easy.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say you want to find the mentors that are living the life that you want to live.
Yes.
They're the type of character you would like to become, and those are the mentors you should seek.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I agree.
I love that. But guys, you heard it. This is Kru Walter from Sityodtong, Los Angeles. Guys, if you are close to the Monrovia area, please check his gym out. It's a beautiful facility. Great man right here. I've known him, like I said, he's known me since I was a little kid, guys.
Likewise, Neil. Yeah. Great man right here.
Oh, thank you. But guys, that concludes another episode of Muay Thai Save Me. If you're just tuning in, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's where I bring in guests and they share how Muay Thai has impacted their life in a positive way. So stay tuned. Don't forget Warrior Pride Promotions.
Website, Neil?
Absolutely. Please do, yes.
Sityodtongla.com is our website for the gym, if you want to look into that.
Where can they find you on Instagram?
Instagram is official Walter SYT.
Okay.
Official _ Walter SYT.
Okay.
And then Facebook, Walter Michalowski.
I love it. You guys heard it. Hit him up. If you guys are in the Monrovia area or close nearby, please check him out, okay? But don't forget the show too, Warrior Pride Promotions, February 10th. All right, come support, and we'll see you guys next week.
Kap kun kap. Any kap.